All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of constant motion. I stand before it, alone and unchanging.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your—
To be honest, you might—
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina.
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys.
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than... In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro... I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Paimon just knew where to start. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. as many as we can.
That's right. I knew if it weren't for... That's why I didn't wish... The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about Right. You met a Fatus, but still...
Sorry.
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear...
Of course. I'll answer it. We've been trying to find out during our investigation. From that moment on...
Is that why you needed a...
That's right. So, after
that air vent was created during the...
Well, what should have been that voice seemed to... On the way back, after that...
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the...
Because of that
That's the only way we...
So, it was never my way. But, like I said...
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a
The current problem is that if we want to refute the Hydro... Huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. What Linney experienced and what he saw. Seems this won't... According to Linney, he left... seems the... Lenny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. Lenny did not...
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Lenny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any... Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent!
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Carol hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Lenny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole... You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Let this mean the same clue.
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Could there have been a third person involved? Halsey is the missing person. Could there have been a third? The deceased's name is Cow.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious?
Oh, is that so?
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be. No one entered or left the The deceased's name is No one entered or left the Linny was not in the tunnel. Halsey's clothing. No one entered or left. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The sound we heard made. It would have been tough for both. Halsey's clothing. The sound we heard made. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Linny was not in the tunnel at that. Linny was not in the tunnel. No one entered or left.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having...
I see how it is.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick is...
If only we knew... Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only... And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a
Excuse my interruption.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come. The deceased's name is Cap. The vase was not broken.
Paimon gets it! Lynette escaped. If there's a...
Just a how could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about. Magic tricks.
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may since Cal was the deceased, but given that we aren't...
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more... Guards, please step into the lounge and...
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within the notebook in his back.
The primordials.
The note's contents also. The notebook has one of these tubes was the notes also stick. As such, we.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into.
Could something so ridiculous?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain.
Huh. If people can become water,
Does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowl was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partner?
Let's go.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded... Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic. Guards, Mr. Linney...
Of course. If we uphold this
Right! Like the metal hook! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that...
The water from the primordial... Now it seems like the hook... The water from the primordial sea... The rope that strung the... The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fire... The deceased's name is... Lynette was in the magic box... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire... Now it seems like the hook rope... The water from the primordial... The rope that strung the water... The deceased's name is... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the... I remember there was some...
containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract when the balloon afterward, but...
Huh. That actually links together.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What?
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new... I shall now invite him on stage to share it with...
Thank you, Your Honor. We found...
What?
That can't be. Oh, I see. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens. Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowell then caused halt. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much... Am I right?
We've used up all the evidence we could. Is this the end of...
Oh no!
Seems... I believe this is indeed... Now then, my good...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject!
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, what in the world?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating... But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lenny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf.
But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final...
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the...
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving was...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cow.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been... But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey! No wonder you look familiar! So you were the thief! Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled!
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel I wasn't going to take that lying down, so There was nowhere to run from there, though. So I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, had I known that...
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's Seems this... The flower vase was... Lillian was... The strange sound...
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect. He tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events...
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish... Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not...
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But
wow, look at that! She's like a deflated
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be to cover up any evidence while committing the deed. Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to... He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box, and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused... While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the oratories to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared.
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation. How did you find the water?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence?
I suspect that the accomplice... I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a...
we were supposed to place...
And now that your plan... Therefore you would...
Yes! I'll tell you everything Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion. We've been in this...
And now he can no longer...
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to... But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. I guess. I didn't approach you with any As for why that was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
A knave? The one who controls the House of...
That's right. Back when our parents to survive, I took my sister, to my surprise, before long.
So you went from...
That was how we felt, but he would constantly...
That doesn't seem too...
After I waited the answer he gave...
Oh no.
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship I managed to ferret. All I saw was...
So...
That's right. Father, the House of the Heart... I was hesitant, but she was also...
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the house?
She has gained permit...
So...
That's right. Today's case has everyone at hotel... To us orphans...
So... From small to...
It's alright. I just hope you can... If you should need anything at all in the future.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too? Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides! And...
Ah, I see. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to...
Huh?
Well, Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
You don't have to twist...
Oh, wonderful.
All right, then.
Welcome to Bantan Sangha Detective Agency.
Please speak to President Song. I understand.
There is no escape!
Inactivity serves no purpose whatsoever. All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of constant motion. I stand before it, alone and unchanging. The world remains constant over the centuries, but human life is like the dew at dawn, or a bubble rising through water. Transitory. All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of constant motion. I stand before it, alone and unchanging. Illusion shattered! Shine down!
I'll keep this close.
Hands were
down! There is no...
A reward on the road.
Torn to oblivion! Shine down! There is no escape! Take them.
Stop right there!
Rise.
Drop your weapons!
Cool it!
Inactivity serves no purpose whatsoever. Illusion shattered!
Propagate!
There is no escape! The mortal plane, a fleeting dream.
I will lead us to victory.
Illusion shattered!
Stop right there!
No turning back! Quiver!
Propagate! Drop your weapons! You asked for it!
Shine down!
Stop right there!
Illusion shattered!
Scatter!
Now you shall perish!
Germinate! Drop your weapons!
Storm the front!
Shine down!
Strike!
Justice will prevail! Final warning!
Quiver!
Stop right there! Propagate!
There is no escape!
Propagate!
I'll keep this close.
Torn to oblivion! There is no escape!
Scatter! Final warning!
Yeah.